another day, another set of breakers doing some very shady things. It's this is pretty compelling and pretty shocking. Hey everyone, Dan the Cardman back again. Welcome to another video. Very glad to have you here. Thanks for joining. Welcome back. Now, today's video is a bit disappointing, to be honest. We've got another breaker, another card breaker over in the States, looking like they've scammed their customers, and it raises questions over whether they've done this in the past and things like that. Now, typically when you hear these kinds of stories and when you check out the video with the proof, it's often hard to tell and it's a bit grey. Whereas I think this video and this instance, it's pretty compelling. I watched the video with I was incredibly pessimistic when I watched the video, or before I watched the video, I should say. And then by the time the two parts ended and I got a good understanding of what actually happened, I was pretty much convinced that they have in fact scammed their customers. And to give you some context, it is Platinum Card Breakers. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. Very large breaker in the States, and one of their customers who bought into that break saw something happen, and then as a result of that went back and watched the break multiple times and then came to an opinion, put the video together, and it's what I'm going to show you in a second. Now, the reason why it came to light so blatant in the video was because somebody on the stream noticed something that happened. And to give you some context, a redemption card was hit for Justin Field, National Treasures, sitting there in the box. You can briefly see the inside of the box for a second, and it looked like a redemption was in there. And kudos to the people that caught it, right? Because pretty easy to miss, but they did see it. And then what happened was the chat called it out, so they went back and searched for the rubbish and pulled it out. Now, and that's sort of what triggered this person. Now, they've got their own YouTube channel now called Card Breaker Scammer, and they've highlighted this. I'm going to put links down to both the part 1, the part 2, and the follow-up video that come out a couple of days later in my description below. I'm not going to play large portions of the video because I don't want to take away from this person's good work. If you want to check them out, you need to check it out on their channel. I'm going to play portions of this. But to give you some context, and it's pretty compelling, like it's very, very compelling. Like if you watch the video in its entirety and you don't come to the opinion that they've probably scammed this or it's intentional, it's not an honest mistake, then yeah, I don't know what to say to that. But basically he steps through multiple instances. There's a part here which I think is pretty important to call out. It's this box. Oh, you can't see my mouse, sorry. Give me 1 second. It's this box in particular that has the redemption in it. Now, all the other boxes that he opened prior to this, which was 2 in this set of 4, basically busts it open and shows the empty box very clearly to the camera. Does something very interesting with this first box where he puts it off to the side. You can very clearly see he looks at it, and then he quickly moves it past the camera, and you can see the redemption in there. It's very quick, so I'm surprised they caught it, but it is what it is. I will say this though, like I don't know if this is a one-off thing for them. Maybe they've done it multiple times in the past. They're a bit brash, these guys. They're throwing the cards around. Very expensive product. I wouldn't break with them based on how I've seen them handle these cards. They just chuck them on the table. It's very, very unprofessional in my opinion. And it goes down to the point of you really need to understand the people that you're investing your money with. I've touched on this in the past when it comes to graders and breakers and things like that. If you're giving people money, you need to know what their intentions are. You need to know whether they're maintaining a certain level of professionalism, or you need to expect that from them. And in this case, it's very rough. I would not feel comfortable paying the kind of money that these kinds of cards cost to see them throw them around like that on the table. Now, I'll quickly play this portion. It goes for about 10 seconds. So you can see him opening this box. Probably keep an eye on his face. You can see he's taking the cards out. Okay, and he's looking at the box, right? And then you see the redemption, right? So you very quickly see the redemption. Closes the box. Now, the guy who broke the video, I forget his name, but he mentions that when he opens his one box, he does something different that he does for the other 3, right? He taps on the table twice. Now, that's interesting for a few reasons, because what happens as the video goes on, he's paused it, he's talking about it, but what happens as the video goes on, all of a sudden, before they start breaking, you can see, it's very hard to tell, but there's another box of National Treasures over there. And what this guy thinks has happened, and you get to this point in a second, is that the tap on the table was a tell to the other guys in the room that, okay, there's a redemption in here, and that's why that box of National Treasures ended up on the far right when the rest ended up in the bin. Okay, I mentioned the bin for a reason, because what happens in a second is when the chat does realize that there was a redemption card still in that box, because they caught it, even though it went past the camera very quickly. The guy packing up the bag of rubbish in the background, it's a bit hard to tell because it's so small, calls him back, opens it up, and there's something very dodgy that happens here, which I'll get to in a second. But I just thought I would quickly also show you what it looks like when he's opening another box. So if I quickly skip ahead, sorry. So you'll see here in a second. You'll probably see something that he did very differently to the first box I showed you. The box that had see, he very clearly showed it was an empty box, right? The first one was even more clear because he actually held it in front of the camera for even longer. The reason why this individual's caught out that box to the far right is because something happens, and you see it actually happen in the second video. So what he does is, this is the main dude, I forget his name, I think it's G or something. You can see there in his hand, he picks up the box. When he turns around, he'll call the guy to come back with the rubbish that he just threw out, because the rubbish bag contained all the other boxes, right? And the theory here is that the one that was on the table that didn't get put into the bin like the rest did has the redemption in it. Now, in the second part of the video, this is where it touches on that part, right? And this guy does something very dodgy here, in my opinion. So the whole time this is happening, he's telling the guys, you threw something out, oh my God, we're idiots, we've done this before, I can't believe we do this, I can't believe it's happened again, sort of thing. And then he's screaming out to the guys, get the bag here, you need to get the bag here, get it on camera, make sure it's on camera. Talking it up, right? Making sure that when you're hearing that, right, you're like, okay, these guys are on par. They want to make sure that what they're going to do right now is going to be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Robust, right? It's not scammy in any way. They're making sure it's on camera. They're not going to try and rip anyone off. But we saw him pick up that box from the table. Okay, now something very interesting happens here, and I think it's about here. So he has it in his hand. Now just watch how quickly he turns around. He cups his hand and watch how quickly he turns around. So I'm going to only show this portion of the video. When you go watch it yourself, you can see it in full detail, because again, I don't want to take it away. See how quickly he moved his right hand? It's like, it was just a weird movement, right? And he's already got the box in that hand. We know because he had it in the other frame, right? And he moved it very quickly and then turns his back to the camera to pretend he pulls that box out of the bag. And it's pretty disappointing to see. Like, watch the full video because it's extremely compelling. And then the rest of the video is there, the redemption. He screams out, oh my God, we threw this out. Justin Fields, blah, blah, blah. It's very disappointing, to be honest. And when you're spending the kind of money, you need to get a certain level of professionalism. The way these guys appeared to carry themselves, throw the cards around, making these kinds of mistakes, if it was a mistake, or actually performing this kind of scam, is incredibly disappointing to see. And it's a word of warning again from me to you as collectors, as investors for cards. Be very wary of where you're sending your money, right? Because there's people out there that are purely here to take advantage of you, take you for a ride. And it happened with the likes of Mark's Cards. You see it happening with some of these poor graders that have come into the market to try and rip people off. So many breakers where Backyard Breaks have done some very dodgy things in the past. Platinum Card Breaks have done some very dodgy things in the past. There's lots of scammers now on Instagram with fake accounts trying to rip people off with fake cards and things like that. Just be on your toes and just start putting your money towards the people that are actually doing things right. When you see how rough these guys are, and I'm a pretty rough guy myself at times, but it just speaks to unprofessionalism, and then speaks to like room for error like this, right? It's just very strange. So these guys did a 20-minute, well, the owner did, G, I think his name is, did a 20-minute apology video, or not apology, a clarification video, and I'll also link that down below, but it's like a bit of a rant, a bit of a 20-minute tangent that doesn't honestly explain anything. There's a follow-up over here from the same individual, Card Breaker Scam. I said, please check that out as well. I'll put that one down in the video below. He just clarifies a few of the questions and things that were raised in the comment section of the previous part 1 and part 2 videos. So yeah, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, whether you've broken with these guys in the past or what your thoughts are on this in general. It's pretty shocking to me, pretty disgusting in my opinion. Like I said, I'm usually someone that's quite reserved when I try and assess these kinds of things, as I'm sure you've seen over the past year that I've been filming videos on 10 months or whatever it's been. I'm typically reserved, right? I share my thoughts on a lot of different things, but I typically am reserved and apply critical thinking as much as possible, and just try and be logical about it all, right? And when I came into this video, like I touched on at the start, I didn't expect to leave as confident as I was that these guys did intentionally do this. There's far too many questions, and if it is a misunderstanding, it is a misunderstanding, but like I said, the video is incredibly compelling, and I don't know what else to say. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you haven't seen this before, and please check out both part 1 and part 2. They're quite long. They're about 15-20 minutes each, if I recall. 8 minutes and 14 minutes, sorry. They are. So please check it out, because it is quite detailed, and he talks through his logic as to what is actually happening and things like that. So please check it out. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like I said already, please give me a like and a follow, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.